We've got some first numbers coming in, and let's go ahead and show those with you right now. So you can see for Seattle Mayor Bruce Harrell, and you talked about that 50% threshold, and here he is with 45%, and Wilson actually has 46% at this point. I'm going to run through a few more of these, and then we'll come back and talk about more of them. Do we have other big ones in just yet, or should we sit on the mayor? Let's go to the next one here real quick. I wasn't sure how many of these we had in just yet. Okay, there's your King County executive. I don't know that, well, I'll ask your thoughts on this in a minute. Gurmai Zahalai, he got a lot of endorsements, a lot of support. I'm sure this is probably no real surprise. But again, only 41% there at this point. So nobody breaking that 50% threshold just yet. I don't know if we have a couple others in here. The voucher program, which you are very well aware of, you know a lot about this. Explain this a little bit and tell me what this means to you.
So Democracy Vouchers is a program that we started in 2015 through a initiative. It's a first of the nation program, and it's a way to try to democratize campaign finance. When it comes to campaign finance in general, you have two main strategies. You can either try to take money out of the system, which involves imposing a lot of restrictions, or you can put extra money in to try to drown out what you think of as the bad money. And Democracy Vouchers are trying to do that by giving every citizen 4 $25 vouchers they can give to anyone running for city attorney, mayor, or one of the city council races. And what this is, the hope was that it would help elevate more marginalized communities that don't have the disposable income and help them be able to put more money behind their candidates.
Right, exactly. All right, let's hit Prop 1 in King County. This is the Parks Levy. I think it's 23 cents per 1,000. The math is $230, if I did this correctly, on $1 million home. And that one is passing in a big way tonight. And I'm not sure that surprises me either.
Yeah, I don't think I'm surprised by that at all.
And we've got city attorney. And this one's been talked about quite a bit.
This is not a good number for Ann Davidson.
37%, okay.
Yeah, Evans was coming in with the endorsement of King County Democrats. She was getting the stranger. And what we've seen so far in these Seattle races is that more progressive candidates are doing a little bit better than the more centrist candidates. So I think just like 2023 was sort of a backlash against the leftward movement of the council, I think we might be seeing a little bit of a backlash brewing here in these early results towards the direction the council went after that 2023 election.
It had been, well, I would say tough on crime. I think that was kind of the push, but maybe the pendulum's swinging back a little bit. So it'll be interesting to see where that goes. Either way, I mean, it looks like she's going to move forward.
Yes.
We've also got 4 candidates in the Seattle City Council District Number 2 seat. That's the open seat after Tammy Morales resigned. And so you can see what we're...
And again, we see the more, the stranger, usually in Seattle politics, you can use Seattle Times and stranger endorsements as the proxy for the more progressive and the more centrist candidate. And we see the candidates that were endorsed by the stranger coming out on top in these early results. And one thing to keep in mind when it comes to Seattle elections, usually the election night result is the worst number that more progressive candidates are going to get. We have a phenomenon here in Seattle city politics that we call the blue shift. For whatever reason, more progressive voters tend to procrastinate in getting their ballots in a little bit more. So as the counting goes on over the next few days, we tend to see the number of the more progressive candidate tick up a little bit higher.
All right, we got 2 more. Position 8, that one is got Alexis Rankin. Doesn't look like she's going to give that one up.
I think the interesting thing here is that Savage is coming in a second, so she'll be running around. She's the only candidate that we saw in any of the city council elections get endorsed by the King County Republican Party. There's been some suggestion that she will be focusing on homelessness and particularly sweeps as being an important issue.
And then Council 9, that is the citywide seat. Sarah Nelson seeking re-election there. I mean, what do you make of that? I mean, that's second place.
Yeah, I think that is, this was the race I was most interested in seeing because Nelson has sort of been the embodiment or the representative of the council overall. She's council president, so we're not really surprised by that. She also opted out of the Democracy Voucher program, so she's been able to raise a little bit more money. And programs that have traditionally stayed neutral in the primaries that generally waited until the general election to jump in have begun to jump in on the side of Diane Foster early because of the money that was coming in to support Nelson. So seeing Nelson coming in at 39% on election night with the fundraising advantage that she has had, she's got about 423,000 at the last report, whereas Foster only had 291,000 raised. That's not a great place to be if you're an incumbent.
It's a long road to November is what it
It
is.
is.
All right.
She's going to have a lot of work ahead of her.
Let's get to King County. We've got a couple of positions there, position 5 and position 7. Here's position 5. It's too far away for me to even read that.
Kim Van, she, I think, is one we could see as the more progressive candidate. She's coming in 3rd. So we'll have to see. The blue shift usually is a little bit weaker outside of Seattle. In King County, you won't necessarily see it as strong. So I think this will be an interesting race to see whether or not she's going to be able to catch up. But this is going to be, I think, a little bit like our District 2 race from a couple years ago, where we're going to have to see whether or not the more progressive candidate can move ahead. Vaughn ran against Reagan Dunn for King County Council previously, so this is her second attempt going at it. She's currently on the Renton City Council.
Well, I'm hearing that Mayor Harrell is going to speak here momentarily. Let's get on over to King 5's Jim Nelson and see if we can get to the mayor. Has he stepped out yet, Jim?
Yeah, the mayor just walked out right now, so we were actually following him. That's the first that we've seen of Mayor Bruce Harrell. There was really no reaction to that initial wave of results. Oftentimes in these watch party situations, you see the results are up on a board. They don't have the results up on a board. I don't know how many people have been checking to see that first wave that you guys just went over, but I'm not sure if you could hear the tail end of the applause as Mayor Bruce Harrell walked into his watch party here at a restaurant in the Leshy neighborhood. So a big ovation for the mayor. Obviously it's very tight, and with the nature of the primary system and that the top 2 advance, obviously there's plenty of reason to celebrate, as it certainly looks like it will be. At the end of the day, it sounds like Mayor Harrell as well as Katie Wilson advancing. I know it's very early in the process, but those 2 obviously jump off the sheet when it comes to the percentage. So certainly a celebratory tone here at Mayor Harrell's watch party. We expect him to address the crowd here in a few minutes. Of course, we'll be able to bring that live, but I would imagine it would be a tone of optimism, of celebration, while probably acknowledging that there will be a lot of work to do, because this certainly, by all accounts, looks like a tight race. We'll see what happens when it gets down to 2 candidates. Obviously, that's a long ways away, but again, celebrations early on so far here with Mayor Harrell's camp. Back to you guys in the studio.
All right, Jim, we'll check back in a little bit.